What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Game Show presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always every day, no exceptions, especially not the last 4 days. My co-host Josh and John Luke. What's up, guys?
What up? One of us was here the last 4 days, no exceptions. Someone's lazy.
Jalen and I were hiding under Jay Wall's desk, tickling his feet the entire time over the last 4 days.
Never found out it was us.
That's why he giggles so much.
That's why he giggles the entire time.
It's Simon and I.
Huh. Guys, also joining us today, your favorite Front Yard Friday Right Bros crew, Joey and Tim Wright. What's up, guys?
How's it going? Happy to be back.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you guys back. And Tim, I almost introduced you as a whole different person because you look like a whole different person without the facial hair over there. The crowd is gonna. Where's Tim Minshew? He's gone. Is he retired?
So I wound up seeing Dua Lipa over the weekend, and that was like the peak performance of this beard. So I had to retire it at least for a couple weeks. So
you saw her in concert. You saw her
concert.
Down okay.
I wish it was
on the TV. Just saw a picture.
Every time Tim sees Dua Lipa on the TV, he shaves his mustache.
Yeah.
Damn it!
It's compulsive. I'm sorry.
Hey guys, also joining us today is great friend of the show, Eric Romoff. You can find him on Twitter at FantasyNav. It is right there below his beautiful mustached face. Tim shaved his mustache. We had to bring an even better one on the show right now. Guys, if you do not know Eric, he's a contributor with Dr. Roto and Going for Two and the co-founder of the Pros with Joe's charity leagues, which are always a ton of fun to play in. Eric, thank you so much for joining us today, my man.
Thanks for having me on. I don't have the option to shave my beard. I am literally afraid of what hides underneath this. It hasn't seen sunshine in years.
One day we'll find out.
I get it, Eric. I don't have nearly as much of a beard as you even, but I'm terrified. I'm just straight up terrified.
Me too.
That's
Me
why
too,
I don't
Eric.
shave my... Oh, never mind. Sorry. We'll just keep on going.
I was like, yikes.
We're gone for 3 days, and all the chemistry's gone.
Guys, we got Craig in here. What's up, Craig? Happy Friday, friends. I hope your Friday ends well and that you have a safe, fun weekend. Thank you, Craig. Right back at you.
No.
What's up, Dave? Bing bong. Welcome in. Glad to have you here, Dave. And Albert, good afternoon. Glad to have you in here. Damon, you saying howdy. Whoop. Yeah, we got double Texas representation here today. We need a couple extra howdies and yeehaws in the chat. And Sully said, waiter, who are these guys, Josh? Josh, did you want to introduce the new people on the show?
These guys, on the guy on, well, it's my right. Like I'm pointing right now, but like on the screen, I'm not sure.
About me.
So both these guys right here, these guys are friends. We go way back. We were in a Dynasty league together. I figured I'd bring them on the show, show them a good time, and we'll see.
Every year to Josh.
Maybe we'll loan back someday.
Thanks, Josh. I appreciate
Probably
it.
Not.
Yeah.
What's up, Justin? Welcome in. He said, welcome back, Simon and JL. We are glad to be back. Had a good time in Vegas, but glad to be in here. And coming in now said, best halftime show, 1993. I wasn't even born yet. That one would have been hard for me to watch. Thomas, and you're saying the full FYF crew is back. We're back and ready to go, baby. And coming in now said, did you go to the Taco Bell in Las Vegas? I mean, no, but I did go to the Taco Bell in San Antonio, Texas today. As soon as I got back, that is where I went. It's probably a crime against humanity to get back to San Antonio and go straight to Taco Bell.
What I need.
Like I'm in the city with the best tacos in the U.S. and I go straight to Taco Bell whenever I get here. Oh God, what have I become? Thomas and Tim did the playoff beard reverse. Yeah, 100%. And JR, look who's back. You're back. Glad to have you in here, JR.
You're back.
What's up, JR?
Guys, today we are playing brackets. We brought Eric here to help us out with a couple different bracket topics. Our first bracket we're going to be looking at quarterbacks under 25 in Dynasty that you would want to trade for. So it's going to be your favorite trade target quarterback under 25 in Dynasty. The second bracket, we're going to be looking at some of the most iconic and famous halftime shows in the Super Bowl history and vote for which one we think is the best 93. Or your favorite. That one is fully just however subjectively you want to handle it, you want to discuss it, we can talk about it that way. Before we get started, though, with those brackets, guys, a couple reminders. Number one, if you are not already following our guest, Eric, go and do it right now. He's on Twitter at FantasyNav, like I said before, right there below his mustachioed face on the screen. Eric is the man, a great analyst, and does a lot of awesome things for this community through the Pros with Joe's tournament. So make sure you guys are following him over there. Then if you're watching this video, that means you're already on our YouTube or Twitch channels. If you're on Twitch, hit that follow button. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel at Front Yard Fantasy. It's the easiest way to show your support for what we're doing. And you can make sure you never miss another show again. You guys ready to jump into some brackets?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it. For those of you who have not done brackets with us before, how this is going to work is we're going to take turns voting on these head-to-head matchups that we have laid out right here. We will vote one by one, and we have 6 people today. So if there is a tie, we will go to the chat to break that
We
tie.
might need you guys.
So make sure you guys are throwing your
ready.
votes in the chat. Unless we're going to have polls going today, JL.
Maybe. I'm not
Maybe.
Burgundy.
Maybe we're getting feeling a little
Ron
weird.
Burgundy. And Thomas, it feels weird not having JL in the chat yelling at us to like the video. Is that what you're doing the past week, JL?
We could still do
Yeah.
that, I'm sure.
I can 100%
Make it
do that for you, Thomas. I got you.
Okay, guys, with this bracket, these are all quarterbacks under 25, and we're going to be talking about our favorite trade target. So it changes the conversation a little bit from just like who's the top guy in Dynasty. We have to take into account their value, what you have to give up for them, and what maybe you're getting back. There's a couple first-round buys here because there was too many quarterbacks in this category to only talk about 8. So we auto-advanced
Pretty.
Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Herbert into your next round. But we're going to start off with what was a common debate last offseason for who should be the number 1 quarterback in that class, Trevor Lawrence versus Justin Fields. Eric, we're going to come to you first. Which of these 2 quarterbacks is your preferred trade target this offseason?
So I don't even know if this was all that common a debate this time last year, right? I feel if we're running it back a year ago, Trevor Lawrence is not a 9 seed. I think he's maybe in conversation for a top 2 or 3 seed. So
Yeah.
I get that he underwhelmed in his rookie season, but a lot of those raw attributes that you look for are still there. And generally speaking, I think you can get him about for what you'd spend on Justin Fields, maybe a little bit less. So I'll actually go with Trevor Lawrence out of these 2.
Trevor Lawrence from Eric. Joshua, where's your vert? Where's your vert going on there?
So this is we're talking about a dynasty context, and if it was just a redraft context, I'd much rather have Justin Fields on my team for next season just because of his rushing ability. But I'm just not sure he's going to be a long-term answer at the quarterback position. Like Eric said, I think these guys are pretty similarly valued right now. You could find guys that like Fields more, that like Lawrence more. I'm going to go Lawrence here just because I'm going to assume that they are about the same value right now. And if I'm going to trade for one, I guess it would be Trevor Lawrence in Dynasty because I think he has more long-term upside.
2 votes for Trevor Lawrence. JL, where are you going on this one? Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields?
I'm going Trevor Lawrence. These guys had equally bad seasons, and I feel like perception is saying that Justin Fields had not as bad of a season. I mean, he did score more fantasy points in total, but his points per game, his fantasy points per game was within a point or around a point off from difference between Trevor. So I believe in Trevor Lawrence's talent. I think that the system is going to be better next year. I don't think it can get worse than what Urban Meyer did this year. And Trevor's going to have some more support. He's going to have a good career. So Dynasty, I'm taking Trevor Lawrence.
Joey, we got 3 votes for Trevor Lawrence. So at worst, this is going to be a tie where it goes to the chat. But where are you voting? Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields? Are you ending this right here?
Yeah, it won't be a tie. I was really hoping I'd be the first one to poop on Urban Meyer. I think Lawrence grinds it out and has a really good second season and a great career. I would definitely have Lawrence.
Well done, Joey.
That's pretty good. 4 votes for Trevor Lawrence. Tim, what about you?
Yeah, it's Trevor for me. Absolute circus down there in Jacksonville at rookie season, so he can only go up.
Honestly, for me, I think Trevor's the better prospect. I agree with everything you guys said. But if Justin Fields' value was significantly lower, this would be a question. It's not. I was checking out the rankings, like the Fantasy Pros consensus dynasty rankings right now. Justin Fields is a couple spots ahead of Trevor Lawrence in those, with Aaron Rodgers in between the 2 guys. It's got to be Trevor Lawrence with how he's currently perceived. His attributes that made him the consensus number 1 overall draft pick since he was in high school haven't disappeared. So it's going to be a sweep. I am sorry, Justin Fields, but you do not even get to play in the main rounds of the bracket today. Thomas said, what would you say Lawrence and Fields cost right now then?
That's a good
So
question.
have you guys seen any trades, like from a picks perspective? What do you think Trevor Lawrence would cost? A first plus.
Or what
right?
would you give up maybe? Like what would you give up to go trade target them? You know what I mean?
Would you give up an early first for these guys this year in a super flex dynasty?
No doubt in my mind. It's not
Yeah,
even
right?
that's not even a
I'd give away the
question.
101 for either of these guys. Right?
Probably.
Eric, would you
Yeah.
give up the 101
In a
for-
super flex league.
In Superflex,
Superflex,
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
got
I mean, I would say the 101 and like a piece, right? A young guy, a third round maybe for next year, even. I mean, but for me, the part of that is just I'm kind of bearish on this year's quarterback class.
Gotcha. Joey, what do you think the value of these guys is right now?
Yeah, it's going to take more than even if you had the 101, it's going to take more than that to get Lawrence.
Yeah.
Fields, you might be able to get for just the 101.
Maybe.
But
I think,
as you were
depends
saying,
who
on,
you're talking to.
the consensus, has Fields, but so I think it's going to take more than just a first round pick.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Guys, we're going to move on to our next matchup. And Josh, you've got the first vote on this one. It is Kyler Murray versus Zach Wilson. So when I put the ages next to there, Kyler Murray 24, Zach Wilson 22. There's been some rumors and tumult around Kyler Murray and the Cardinals lately, and Zach Wilson had his moments on the field, I guess, this past year. So there's question marks about both. Zach Wilson's value is definitely lower. Where are you going, Josh?
Real fast, back to the value of Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. I just did a Dynasty Superflex startup. Trevor Lawrence went at the 210 and Justin Fields went at the 3-1, kind of showing they're still very highly valued and pretty close in value as well.
Yeah.
For this question, Kyler Murray versus Zach Wilson, who is my preferred trade target? Now, Kyler Murray in that said startup draft I just mentioned, Kyler Murray went at the 104. And this is a draft that just took place. Those are with the concerns baked in. Meanwhile, let's see. Zach Wilson went at the 7-4. So that's a 7-round difference, obviously. When it comes down to it, who would I rather trade for? You have to trade the world for Kyler Murray still. I mean, unless the manager of Kyler Murray right now is like, oh, I'm really nervous about him and his future, which I doubt they are, you're still going to have to pay so much for Kyler Murray. You have to pay as much as you would probably for Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson type. You could still get Zach Wilson in a super flex league pretty late. Like you could get him pretty easily. I'd rather have Zach Wilson. I'd rather try to trade for Zach Wilson at a cheap price right now.
Man, I kind of love that we're discussing this as trade targets instead of our typical just who's the best, because it changes the conversation here. JL, are you going with Kyler Murray or Zach Wilson in this poll?
It's
not a poll.
It's not a poll. By the way, the results of the last poll, Justin Fields won 62%.
Wow.
Compared to Trevor Lawrence's 37% on 8 votes.
Suck
Small
it,
sample
chat.
size. Not 600 votes.
Yeah, too bad your votes didn't matter.
Yeah, this is tricky. Just I think because of the trade target game that we're playing here, but it's Kyler Murray for me in pretty much every context.
In pretty much every you'd rather trade the world for Kyler Murray than say trade a second for Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
It's going to take more than a second in a super flex league, to be honest.
Yeah. I would trade a second for Zach Wilson, but
yeah, I absolutely would do that. If that's the cost, let's go.
So, JL, just a hypothetical. Would you rather trade 3 firsts for Kyler Murray or 1 second for Zach Wilson? That's not the going price, but I'm just curious, like how much more you value Kyler Murray.
that's tough.
It's tough, right? I feel like it's maybe an overpay for Kyler, but probably an underpay for Zach.
I grab Zach Wilson there personally.
You could do both.
Would you give up 3 firsts? I mean, like 3 firsts. I'm having trouble even putting that into context of like, are any quarterbacks worth 3 firsts? Are any players?
Flex league.
In Superflex,
All
I think
those top-tier
Josh Allen,
quarterbacks
Patrick
probably
Mahomes,
are.
Herbert.
Then yeah, probably would.
Damn. Sorry. Joey, what about you? Are you going with Kyler Murray for 8 firsts or Zach Wilson for you get 7 firsts given to you with him? Which of the guys would you rather trade for?
So I've said this, like, I don't know how many years I've been playing fantasy, probably like over a decade. The Jets can't be terrible forever. Like they just can't. Like, can they? I don't know. But Elijah Moore, I really like. I like what the Jets kind of are starting to build around Zach Wilson. And Josh, I'm going to be honest, he kind of made my decision for me.
Oh,
I'm gonna go with Zach Wilson.
Just
Zach Wilson.
Discrepancy between values.
It was more of how you talked about Kyler. and like what you're going to have to do to get Kyler. And it's a very good point.
Yeah. Tim, what about you? Are you following JL? Or are you agreeing with Joey and Josh here? Kyler Murray or Zach Wilson?
Yeah, so similar situation. I grew up with the Mark Sanchez years where we're wildly confusing. You're like, oh, this is interesting to watch at least, but they have a lot of cap space in the next couple of years. They are a couple weapons away from making Zach Wilson really relevant. And if you throw in the value there, I'll lean Zach Wilson. You know what? Go for it.
Let's go, Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson. Also, I see lots of comments in here. I would make both trades. Wilson for a second.
Yeah.
You're not getting Wilson for a second in a super flex league. I was just pushing JL on like the extent of how much more he values Kyler Murray over the perceived value of Zach Wilson right there. Because I think that's a decent conversation to have. Like, it's not always just about value. Sometimes you give up value just to have the best player on your team. That being said, though, actually, you know what? Wait, who didn't vote? Me and Eric were at 4, and that would be 5-6. Okay, you know what? Man, I kind of just want Eric to decide this one because I'm very close on this one. Zach Wilson is the better value, but would you rather just trade away the world and get what's perceived as a top 4 dynasty quarterback? Man. Actually, you know what? Forget it. I'm going Zach Wilson. The question marks. I don't want to trade 3 first-round picks for a player that there's question marks around right now. Like, I'll go make that trade for Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes right now before I do it for Kyler Murray. So that made my decision for me. Zach Wilson. Eric, we're coming to you next, though. Zach Wilson's going to win this one over Kyler Murray, but are you going Kyler or Zach Wilson?
I was really looking forward to descending this one into chaos and sending it to the chat.
Dang it.
No!
Part of I guess my philosophy overall is I don't put as much value on picks in Dynasty as it seems like the market kind of does.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be, opposed to shipping off, a huge number of picks to bring back Kyler Murray, who's still somehow only 24, right? He's, one of the more proven commodities at such a young age on this bracket. So I'll take the Kyler side and pay through the nose for it.
Paying through the nose. JL and Eric, the price is not scaring them away for acquiring Kyler Murray in Dynasty, but Zach Wilson. Oh, yeah.
This was really close.
Wait, JL, what was that analysis?
He's good.
He's good. Yeah. JL Garofalo. He's good. That's top tier right there. I agree.
There. That's a good football player right there.
I'm with you on that one. Guys, we are going to move on to our next matchup here. We've got Mac Jones, 23 years old, going up against Trey Lance, 21. One of these guys is being very highly valued in the Dynasty community, and one of them just had an incredible season for a rookie quarterback. So I'm curious to see how this one goes right here. JL, you've got the first vote. Where are you going on this one?
This is an easy one for me. Give me Trey Lance all day. The rushing upside makes him a much more appealing dynasty asset, fantasy asset, not even dynasty. And he's younger. So give me Trey Lance.
Trey Lance for JL and Joey. Sorry about that. You are now beamed up and ready to go on this one. One vote for Trey Lance.
Beam him up.
Are you going Mac Jones or Trey Lance, Joey?
Trey Lance with the 49ers are building is really impressive. And,
2 votes for Trey Lance. Tim?
Yeah, give me Trey Lance. I don't like Mac Jones on a personal level. So even if he's the best quarterback for the next 20 years, I don't want him on my team.
It's too many buttered noodles, and Tim is out.
Too many. I'm out.
Too many buttered noodles. It's going to be Trey. It's going to be Trey Lance for me right now as well. I think you're going to have to pay up a little bit more to acquire him compared to Mac Jones. Like, his cost is going to be higher, but Joey hit the nail on the head. It's cool to see what they're building out there, and he should be set up for success. So I'll vote Trey Lance as well. Eric, where are you going?
I am also going with Trey Lance. I also have personal animus towards Mac Jones. And also like this, this Belichick system, like we saw, obviously Tom Brady produced quite well in it, but old Mac Jones has a long way to go before he's, flirting with, even kind of routine top 10 productivity in that offense. So I'll take the upside, even having to pay more for it.
Yep, there we go. We got another vote for Trey Lance. Josh, is this going to be a sweep, or are you going Mac Jones?
So I see. I see in the chat here. Josh said, I don't know what these guys are going for. Mac worth the first, Lance worth the second, and that's actually not correct. Even though Mac, had a fantastic season, he proved a lot as an NFL quarterback. He doesn't offer a lot of upside from a fantasy perspective. Where Trey Lance, when the games we did see him play, he was running all over the field. And then you pair it like we expect him to be the starting quarterback next year with Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. This offense that's perfect for his skill set. One kind of thinks. I'm gonna give a nod to Mac Jones here.
Going, though, he's correcting here. He's saying no 2 firsts. So this message was saying a first for Mac and 2 firsts for Lance instead of a second. Okay. Is what he was trying to say.
So in this startup draft I'm just doing, Trey Lance won at the 203, and Mac Jones went at the 5-6. So that's kind of a little bit of the separation we're seeing. I'm gonna vote for Mac Jones here, just because I think he's locked and loaded as the Patriots quarterback for the next 10 years. He's the only rookie quarterback that showed anything like that to me. And he's going in the 5th round and no one's buying in. I understand his upside's limited, but if Trey Lance,
the value is good enough that you'll take Mac Jones in this situation.
Yeah. And it's so close. I probably would vote for Trey Lance if it mattered.
Well, I think you bring up a good point. Like, you're paying for ceiling right now with Trey Lance whenever you go and trade for him. That doesn't mean he can't return value. Like, he absolutely still can return value. But I view it kind of like the Javonte Williams value right now. He's up there. I think we saw RB7 on underdog best ball drafts right now. Like, the price is kind of wild for some of these slightly unproven players in fantasy, but that doesn't mean it's not the right decision. I'm glad you threw a vote to Mac. He deserves one over there. But Trey Lance, moving on to the main part of our bracket.
Real quick, I would take the first in both those situations. I wouldn't give away 2 firsts for Trey Lance. It's closer. I definitely wouldn't give away first for Mac, but I would trade them away for that price.
I would take the quarterbacks in those situations myself.
I think I would as well. Mr. Stanford's in here.
Like the 101 and the 102 for Trey Lance.
It depends on where the firsts are. Yeah, if they're late first, then probably not.
Davis Mills love.
I just assume mid first.
I can't believe we snubbed Davis Mills from this bracket. I know. What a shame. That because he would have won.
Davis Mills is 32.
Honestly,
years old.
like trade value, you probably don't have to give a lot for him.
I heard he was like 58.
Yeah. Right.
By the way, Trey Lance won that last vote or that poll from the chat. 83%. 83%.
Hey, that's about what it is here. Wait,
we're at 80%. Yeah, right. If I did my math, nope. 5 out of 6 is not 80%. So close enough, though. Guys, we're gonna move on to our next poll. Right and Joe, you've got the first vote here. Jalen Hurts versus Tua Tagovailoa. Which of these players do you prefer as a trade target in Dynasty right now?
I am probably going to target Tua just because I'm more certain he's going to have a job. If that makes any sense. With Jalen Hurts, I mean, every week you're hearing a different rumor that the Eagles might bring in someone else, and then, Hurts might leave. But, yeah, I'll go with Tua for now.
Tua for now from Joey. Tim, where are you going? Are you going with Tua or are you going with Jalen Hurts? Do I even need to ask?
It's Tua forever for me.
I forgot who we were dealing with.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you mentioned what the Niners are building. I'm pretty excited about the head coach we just hired, Mike McDaniel over there. So Kyle Shanahan, assistant coach for a while. I'm pretty excited to see what our offense does. I think it's going to grow a little bit. It's not going to be as stagnant. I'm excited. I think there's opportunity there.
2 votes for Tua, and I think Tua is a wildly undervalued asset right now in fantasy. As far as quarterbacks go, I think he might be the most undervalued quarterback in dynasty formats. I believe in the talent. I think he got judged too harshly for a very, very, very weird first season for him, coming off an injury that could have been career-ending, and then into the COVID season with no offseason, no OTAs, and on a horrible team. We saw flashes this year that he can be great. Hopefully that offense is much improved. And I don't think it's unrealistic that this time next year we might be talking about him up a tier. Like he might be at the end of that conversation with like the Dak Prescotts, with the Joe Burrows in that range. Now that's a ceiling argument, but at the cost, you're paying more for Jalen Hurts in Dynasty than you are for Tua right now. I prefer Tua blank slate, and then at their value, I extra prefer Tua. This is going to be Tua for me. It's going to be hard for someone to beat him in this bracket in my eyes. Eric, go ahead. Which of these guys?
Shout out to the FYF production team for pairing these two together. Like maybe the two most like hated incumbent quarterbacks by their current fan base.
Hey, I'm a big fan. I love him.
Yeah, for me, I think it's pretty clear, right? Like at price, it's easily Tua. Even if they were the same price, I like Tua a lot more. I put out a tweet about this a few weeks ago. I'm kind of getting like Drew Brees meets Sean Payton vibes out of this marriage with McDaniel. Like over schemed offense, really accurate quarterback who's a little undersized. Like it might take a little while for them to click, but I think McDaniel's going to invest in him, and I think that he's going to build something around his skill set that brings the most out of him. So I'll absolutely take him at a discount.
Yeah, there we go. So that vote was for Tua on that one, Eric.
Lock it in.
Going that way. Lock it in. Final answer. Josh, are you going Jalen Hurts or Tua?
If these guys were the same price, I'd actually definitely be taking Jalen Hurts. I heard pretty much everyone else say the opposite of that, but Jalen Hurts probably around a late third round pick, while Tua is more of a fifth round pick in a startup. I guess I'll take the value on Tua, but there's no doubt in my mind I'm taking Hurts over Tua 100% of the time.
There we go. Josh, a little bit more bullish on Hurts maybe than some of the others here, but or just more in line with consensus on Tua.
It's fantasy upside with his rushing when it comes down to it. Where Tua, he can't run. It's not that he can't run at all. Just Hurts is one of the elite quarterback runners in the NFL.
So what's up, Slim? Welcome in. Said Hurts going to go backwards because he can't throw early. And then said Fields QB1, Lamar a steal right now. Yeah, I think Lamar's a steal right now too. We'll be talking about him in a little bit.
Lamar's still an early first round pick in Superflex leagues. I don't know about a steal.
I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying.
I think people are down on him still a lot after this.
I think you can trade less for him than you would for a Josh Allen. And I think you're getting similar value with a Lamar Jackson, but we will talk about that as well. We also had something in here. Josh said not to go back to the Murray poll, but if you're willing to give up 2 firsts for Lance, who we haven't seen play really, why wouldn't you give up 1 more for Murray? I never said I wouldn't trade 3 firsts for Murray. It was just in comparison to trading 1 second for Zach Wilson.
And there are questions. What do you mean he can't bust and has 0 questions? Have you been paying attention to the NFL news lately, Josh?
He said he will be a starter on some team next year. Yeah, and it might be the Oakland.
I'm with
Athletics.
Josh on that.
Yeah, that's questions.
I am with him on. He might not be in the Cardinals, but I can't imagine him like a team not picking him up if that somehow is the
first round pick in baseball. Excellent baseball player would be in the MLB right now. Just so you know.
Yes, if he switches to baseball, then for sure don't take
if you want to talk about more concerns, every single year of his career he's gotten hurt, and after he's gotten hurt, while it doesn't always hold him out long, he comes back and he does not look like the same player. I don't know. He's got a smaller frame. He runs a lot. There's concerns in my mind.
There's risk. Yeah, for sure. There's risk.
There is risk. JL, I believe you have the last vote on this one, though. Jalen Hurts versus Tua. It's 5-0 right now, but Josh giving a nod to Jalen, saying in a vacuum, take value out of it. He prefers Jalen Hurts. Where are you going here?
And to Josh's comment from before that we were just discussing, I wouldn't give up 2 firsts for Lance. I think I said the other way around.
Did.
I think. It's Tua for me here. Trade targets. That's the bracket. That's the name of the bracket here. Tua is a much better trade target in my mind.
To a much better trade target. And guys, we have our final 8 now. The preliminary rounds are over, and we've got some interesting matchups now. Some of these guys that are very solidified near the top of the dynasty boards, but you are going to have to sell the house to acquire. And some of these younger, up and coming, maybe lower valued players that you might be able to get on a value right now. Tim, you have the first vote on our first matchup of this round. Josh Allen versus Trevor Lawrence. Which is your preferred trade target? This is like maybe my favorite matchup in the whole bracket. This is the one. This is the guy who's been the number 1 quarterback for the last 2 seasons versus maybe the guy with the most promise out of any of the next generation of quarterbacks. What's it going to be, Tim?
This is not easy.
No, it's not.
Yeah, the good news is if we're saying trade targets, I already have Trevor Lawrence on the only dynasty team I'm in, so he's not a target for me. So give me Josh Allen.
Good logic. Good logic.
For me on this one, just from its cost alone, like because I like Trevor Lawrence, I think he has good upside going forward. I'm going to look at the cost of these 2 players. Josh Allen is near consensus the top quarterback in Dynasty going around right now. Like you're really going to have to just pay out the wazoo for this guy. Trevor Lawrence has all the upside in the world still, and you can acquire him for much cheaper. I'm gonna go Trevor Lawrence, but that one's close because it's nice to have the best dynasty quarterback on your team. Like, that's a really good feeling. Eric, where are you going here?
And so I've got the opposite position as Tim. I've got a couple of Josh Allen shares. I have no Trevor Lawrence, so Allen technically isn't a trade target for me. But even with that at price, I think I'm going Trevor Lawrence. I don't even know if you can make like a reasonable offer or any offer that would be accepted in Dynasty Superflex for Josh Allen. So like to consider someone at that kind of offer you can't refuse level, like I'm not all that hot on paying, paying for someone at their high point like that.
Also, Mr. Scampers in here said, solid point, Tim. Solid point. How can you be a trade target if he's on your team? So we got 2 votes for Trevor Lawrence. Josh, where are you going here? 1 vote for Josh Allen.
I'm actually having a lot of trouble with this one because
it's tough.
Because Trevor Lawrence is not cheap. Like, it's not like Josh Allen's so expensive, so I'll go Trevor Lawrence here. You gotta pay a lot for Trevor Lawrence, and he was not good last year, to put it bluntly. I know his rookie year, blah blah blah, bad situation, blah blah blah. Josh Allen, on the other hand, you know exactly what you're getting. You know you're getting a quarterback that's gonna be a stud for the foreseeable future. The number 1 quarterback the last 2 years. He runs. He's an excellent thrower at this point. I think I might vote for Josh Allen just because I don't think there's really that much difference in their value. I mean, there's a huge difference. It's going to be hard to get Josh Allen. You're going to need to probably pair a really good quarterback with Josh Allen. But like, what do you put on top of Trevor Lawrence to get Josh Allen? Like, I don't know. I'm going to go Josh Allen. It's close.
Yeah, this is a close one. I like Josh. What you were saying out loud is I feel like how my brain was going. Like, Trevor Lawrence is cheaper, not that much cheaper, but cheaper enough. But like, it just goes back and forth. JL, what about you on this one? Josh Allen or Trevor Lawrence?
It's Trevor Lawrence for me. Both these guys are top 10 quarterbacks. Josh Allen is in the top 3. Trevor Lawrence is closer towards 10. It's not big enough of a difference for me to probably cover the gap that it's going to cost to trade for them. So I'm going to go Trevor.
Trevor. Joey, you got the final vote on this one. It's 3-2.
Yeah, so I didn't go to Clemson, so I'm not like completely brainwashed right now.
That's fair.
Yeah, no, it is close. It is close. Sorry,
I voted for Allen.
I'm throwing some shade. Oh, wait, Tim, I'm sorry.
Tim voted for Josh Allen.
Yeah,
only
Jay Allen and I are brainwashed.
So I feel like in Dynasty Leagues, when you're about to make a big trade, you're going to make a big trade to get Josh Allen. But I feel like big trades, they do feel a little more level than trades where you're trying to get somebody like Trevor Lawrence. You're going to give away a lot of picks. If you're trading Allen, you're going to have to trade a piece away that you know a lot about. You're not going to be able to send a first to get Allen. It's going to take a lot. So, like Josh was saying, it's weird because I'm talking about 2 Joshes right now, so I want to make sure I don't confuse the 2. You're going to stack like a Mahomes with like maybe like a good RB2 if you really want Josh Allen. And then, that's going to lean towards the other side, but I also rather have Allen personally.
Allen, yeah, or something like one of these young stud running backs, like a Najee Harris plus a Zach Wilson or something might be a trade offer you try to send out. So it is 3-3. We are going to have to go to the chat to break this vote. JL, do we have the results from the chat?
50-50.
No way!
No way! Someone else vote.
We don't get another vote. You know how it works on this show. The tie goes to the guest. So Eric voted for Trevor Lawrence on this one. So unless the poll changes suddenly, we're gonna advance Trevor Lawrence.
Nothing's changing.
Nothing's changing. Mr. Stamper said, "Yay, us!" Trevor Lawrence, you are moving on to the next round.
Close. It's that close, guys.
Out the
That's
1
awesome.
seed. Maybe that should have been the championship. That was a really good matchup. Okay, guys, who voted first on that one?
That was me.
Tim. So I got the first vote on this one. Zach Wilson versus Joe Burrow here, the 12 seed versus the 4 seed. Man, I guess what this really comes down to is like, do you want value or do you want more like guaranteed production from these players? But we saw some real upside from Joe Burrow towards the end of the season here, what this offense can be. what I imagine, though, is that they might want this offense to be a little bit more balanced next season than what we saw at the end of the season. That O-line was clearly a weak point. If they can shore that up, get Joe Mixon a little bit more involved, I don't think Joe Burrow's a run-first quarterback. I don't think he's in the same tier as the next group above him. Like, I have Joe Burrow below Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, but right at the end there. Now, that being said, he's clearly the better option than Zach Wilson. But Zach Wilson is almost free compared to Joe Burrow right now. Like, not really, but the value difference is huge. I think I'll go Zach Wilson here. Number 2 overall pick. He's got upside, and he's going to be way, way, way cheaper to acquire. But man, that one's tough as well. Eric, where are you going here? Joe Burrow or Zach Wilson as your preferred trade target?
Yeah, I kind of carved out my lane with the last Zach Wilson decision here. I'm not a huge fan of his. I think he was a bit of a reach in the draft, and I'm more than happy to pay up for a known commodity with 2 of the best young weapons at wide receiver in the NFL. So give me the Burrow side. Man, now I'm wanting to change my answer. You said those words so good, Eric. Josh, what about you? Are you going with Zach Wilson or Joe Burrow?
It's the same argument with Kyler Murray. Joe Burrow is valued as high as Kyler Murray, if not more in some people's minds, especially because of this last playoff run. So I'd rather go after Zach Wilson in a trade.
It's close, but Zach Wilson for Joshua. John Luke, what about you?
I'm going to go Joe Burrow here. And this might seem contradictory because we were in a similar situation with Trevor Lawrence earlier. The difference to me here is the talent.
Zach Wilson didn't go to Clemson, right?
He didn't go to Clemson. That's for sure. It's that I don't really trust that we've seen anything from Zach Wilson that is sustainable. He's on the Jets team, and I'm not super confident that the Jets team is going to turn around in the near future. I agree with Eric. I think Zach Wilson was a reach in his NFL draft. I would rather have Joe Burrow in the situation because I do believe in his talent. He's been unbelievable. He's since college. He continues to be unbelievable.
2-2. This is tied up right now. Joey, where are you going? Zach Wilson or Joey B?
Well, I didn't go to BYU and I love cigars. So I'm going to go with Joe Burrow. Everything around him, I don't mind paying up for it. I think there is absolutely QB1 potential there with him, with what he has around him. Get him an offensive line. Yes, please do that. Which hopefully means I think he'll throw more. Not more, actually.
When you say QB1 potentially, you meant number 1 overall QB, right?
Yes, number 1 overall QB.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're not just saying Joe Burrow.
Potential. I'm not saying 12. That he.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Absolutely. Tim, what about you? It is 3-2. Are you going to send this to the chat or are you giving it to Joey B?
Let's keep it moving. Give me Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Whoa, excuse me. Joe Burrow moving on to the next round.
Joe Burrow won that 57% in the chat.
And Mr. Scamper said, Joey changed my mind. Good job, Joey. We'll call him the cat whisperer. Joey the cat whisperer on this one. Guys, we are going to move on to our next matchup. And we talked about both of these guys already. I'm in this poll, Lamar Jackson and Trey Lance we've discussed so far. Eric, we're back to you for the first vote on this one. Which of these guys is your preferred trade target?
Man, this side of the bracket is just legendary. For me, these two are kind of ships passing in different directions, right? Trey Lance is at an all-time high value, and it feels like people are sleeping on Lamar. So for me, Trey Lance kind of profiles as potentially a Lamar Jackson. So I'll take the known quantity who's being kind of looked down upon in the trade market.
Yeah, 1 vote for Lamar Jackson. Josh, what about you? Lamar Jackson or Trey Lance?
There's no doubt in my mind this one's Lamar Jackson. It's like Eric said very well, Lamar Jackson being a little undervalued right now, while Trey Lance is an early second, sometimes a late first round pick in Superflex leagues. Take Lamar Jackson. He's a known commodity. Lamar all day here.
JL?
Yeah, I'm with Josh 100%. It's Lamar Jackson for me.
3 votes for Lamar Jackson. Joey?
Well, I'm not a Ravens fan, but even if I was, I would still pick Lamar Jackson.
4 votes for Lamar Jackson. He's going to move on. Tim, where's your vote going?
Keep it going.
Keep it going. And this is going to be a sweep. It's Lamar for me as well.
I'm really scared about Lance. Like, as I said earlier, that I love San Francisco, but I'm a little scared about what lands.
I think
Move on.
this poll highlighted a rare situation where we've got one of those top guys who also has his value lower than it has been for previous seasons. So probably made that easy to move him on. Our next matchup, this is an interesting one. Tua Tagovailoa versus Justin Herbert. Josh,
23.
they're both 23. Justin Herbert seems like he's 47, but he's actually only 23. Josh, where are you going on this one?
So I think Tua's going to be on average a little bit more expensive than Zach Wilson. At least he did in my dynasty draft. I'm looking at some trade values. And Tua's, it looks like he's typically, higher than Zach Wilson, but it's kind of like that same conversation as Justin Herbert, who's a top tier quarterback versus Tua, who's more of a value. I've been taking the values throughout so far, but
If you don't believe,
I feel
in the
like you
value,
can
it's
get
not a
Justin
value.
Herbert. Yeah, no, I just think you could get Justin Herbert cheaper than Josh Allen. Yeah, it's significantly cheaper. I actually put them in the same tier. I'm gonna go with Justin Herbert here, even though it's kind of against what I've been doing typically, like where I've been taking the value.
That's okay. You know what? I think that's consistent. I would have guessed you would have gone with Justin Herbert based on your comments about Tua in the first poll. So I don't think that's inconsistent with what you've been saying, Josh. JL, are you going Tua or are you going Justin Herbert?
This is tough. This is really tough. I think I'll go Tua here. I just feel like his value is going to go up. That is my prediction. That certainly may not be the case. Justin Herbert, I think he's
Tough to go up
right
at this
where
point.
he's going to be.
Yeah,
It
number
could be,
3
yeah.
overall quarterback or so.
Yeah, like how much room does he have to go
Yeah.
up? And so I'm not going to try and target a guy like Justin Herbert. I would rather target the guys around Justin Herbert than Justin Herbert, to be honest. So I'll go Tua here.
2 votes for Tua. Joey, what about you? Or no, 1 vote for Tua, 1 vote for Herbert.
So Justin Herbert's the exact kind of guy that I like to trade for because he's at that bottom of that top tier. So if you've got one of the guys in the tier below, you can trade him plus a little something to get Herbert. Or if you really like Herbert, which I love Herbert, you could drop down, like say you had Mahomes, trade Mahomes for Herbert, and then get a piece with Herbert. And so he's the exact kind of person that I like to trade for. But it's got to be that guy right at the end of a tier.
2 votes for Herbert. That's a great point, Joey. Tim, where are you going on this one?
Give me Tua. I'd like to know where Mike Williams lands before I can really. I love Herbert, but I'm interested to see what their offense does next year if they don't have that extra weapon there. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I love Justin Herbert. If Tua wasn't currently being valued just multiple tiers below, this would be Herbert for me. This would be a guy where I would pay up, but I think Tua has the upside of ending up in a similar conversation if he can be unlocked down there in Miami. So I love Justin Herbert. I've been a huge Justin Herbert fan, but with the value, I'm a believer in Tua. This isn't just a value thing. This is I believe in him, and the value is insane. So I'm gonna go Tua here. Eric, it is 3-2 coming to you. Are you sending it to the chat? Or are you giving this one to Tua?
Twice now, you've stepped right in front of my ability to send it to the chat, Simon.
You can still send it to the chat, Eric.
And
No,
be
I'm
honest.
gonna vote with my heart here, and it's Tua. I think he's the better value. I think the point that JL brought up is spot on. If you look at it in terms of sort of your likelihood to get a positive return on that investment, it's Tua by a pretty good margin through that lens.
Well,
Now, Sully brings up a good point. He says, I think we fixate on value sometimes over having the elite talent on your roster. And he says some are worth paying up for. Absolutely. And so, yeah, these are all like variables in this equation whenever I'm trying to make a decision. And it's about, do I think this player is going to stay there, stay at the value? Someone like Jalen Hurts, I think there's a lot of opportunity for his value to fall. And I don't see a ton of opportunity for it to go up from where it is. And so I completely agree with you, Sully. I think there's like nuance to this, which is why we have such different answers, amongst the 6 here.
I think it's one of 2 things that dynasty players mess up quite often is just like focusing on value and focusing on age. Like overemphasizing those 2 criteria in dynasty can can set you up to always be building for the future. We're like, I'm not competing this year, but watch out in 2 years. Look at all this value and these young players I have. Guys, we're moving on to our first semi-final matchup. Josh, you have the first vote here,
Real
right?
fast.
No,
I just had
JL has
Cameron
the first vote.
asked if Jalen Hurts is in here, and he was in here. He lost to Tua, I believe.
He did lose to Tua.
Not by me. All right, Cameron.
Suck it, Hurts.
Oh, just
JL.
like the Alabama game. Huh.
And Hurts does have room to go up right now.
Oh,
I mean,
man,
like
that's a
he
great point.
finished as a number 2 quarterback and is being drafted as not even number 1 quarterback, I believe.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Josh. JL, I believe you have the first vote here. Trevor Lawrence versus Joe Burrow. Which way are you going?
I'm gonna go with Trevor Lawrence here. I think Trevor Lawrence can absolutely be up there with Joe Burrow in subsequent years from now. And so yeah, I think he has that upside. I'll go Trevor Lawrence.
One vote for Trevor Lawrence. Joey, what about you?
Second vote for Lawrence.
Second vote for Lawrence. Timothy?
Give me T-Law. This is his payback, winning against Burrow this time.
Oh, they didn't stand a chance going against that LSU team, though. Like, that was almost a nice national championship to watch because I didn't have expectations that we would win going into it, just like a little bit of hope. That being said, Trevor Lawrence is going to be cheaper right now, and I think has great upside. So I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence on this one. Eric, what about you? Trevor Lawrence or Joey B?
So kind of like Joey Wright was just saying about targeting the very back end of a tier, I've actually got Burrow as sort of the cutoff on one of those tiers, and you don't have to pay nearly as much for him as you would for the other guys a few spots up. So shout out Joey B. He'll get my vote.
One vote for Joe Burrow. Josh, what about you?
Yeah, give my nod to Joe Burrow as well. Same
Yeah,
thing.
why
Eric.
not?
But Trevor Lawrence moving on to the finals. And guys, we have our next matchup here. Joey, you've got the first vote. Lamar Jackson versus Tua Tagovailoa. Who's your preferred trade target?
Tua.
One vote for Tua. Tim?
Yeah, it's Tua. Ride it all the way to the finals, baby.
You know what? I said it was going to be hard to beat Tua for me in this bracket, but a decreased value on Lamar Jackson this offseason is enough to do it for me. I'm going to vote for Lamar Jackson here. This is where I draw that line of like value versus just talent on your team. Lamar Jackson passes it. Eric, Lamar Jackson or Tua Tagovailoa?
I am lockstep with you, Simon. I am going with the slight discount on Lamar Jackson and the known quantity.
2-2. Josh?
My fellow colleagues, Eric and Simon, summed it up perfectly. Lamar Jackson here.
3 votes for Lamar Jackson. And JL, are you going with Josh's
Do it,
fellow
JL.
colleagues?
I'm going with Josh and his boys.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Lamar won it. Too bad I already
moves
have him on
on.
like all my dynasty teams. I can't trade for him.
Oh man, but this is a fun championship matchup.
Oh, I
and
thought you
Tim
just
has
won.
the first vote. Trevor Lawrence versus Lamar Jackson. Tim, who is your preferred dynasty trade target?
I've traded. Well, so I drafted one of these boys, and I traded for Lamar already. So Trevor, I don't know. Fine.
It sounded like Lamar was the better trade target then.
Because I already had Trevor.
Sorry, just go. You're all good. You're all good.
Man, this is so tough, but similar to the 201, it's my same reasonings. A discount on Lamar is too much for me to pass up. I'm going to go Lamar Jackson here. Eric, Lamar or Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, T-Law is obviously a bit of a better prospect than Tua, but the value that you're getting on Lamar is just too good to pass up. So I'll stick with Lamar.
2 votes for Lamar. Josh, what about you?
If Tua and Trevor Lawrence were matched up in this bracket at some point, I would have gone Tua because of the value, and I'm going to go Lamar here.
Lamar, 3-1 for Lamar Jackson. JL, are you going to finish this right here, or are you giving a vote to Trevor?
I will not give a vote to Trevor here. This is assuming that you can get a discount on him. I feel like if both of these guys, I guess that the assumption is there. Like if they're like
we're
high
going
first
based off
round.
like their current value, right? So
Sure,
3-2.
my
Joey.
perception of it.
Did JL vote for Tua or for Lamar
Trevor.
or Trevor? You
He
did.
voted for
Okay,
Trevor.
I'm voting for Lamar.
4-2. Lamar
It
Jackson.
mattered that JL voted for Trevor, though.
Whatever he doesn't do.
Yeah,
No.
Lamar Jackson is our favorite
50,
quarterback
50
trade
from the chat.
target. 25 or under, and the chat tends to agree.
No,
we
the
got
chat
Davis
is
in
split.
here. Well, about half the chat agrees. I could say 10 to agree. The near majority agree with us. Davis said, like and subscribe. Welcome in, Davis. And he's going, Trevor. Well, sorry. It wasn't Trevor, guys. We've got one more bracket. And you know what? This one's going to have to be fast. If you got
really fast, let's run.
Throw your passion in there. But we cannot skip this, guys. We are going through some of the top halftime shows, your favorite halftime shows ever. We are running out of time. Eric, you're going to go first in this one. Prince from 2007 or U2. Which one did you prefer? What's your favorite?
Prince is the clear 1 seed. He gets my vote.
Prince. Josh?
It's easily Prince.
JL?
Prince. U2 should never win anything.
Yeah.
Joey?
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to talk about Prince. So, yeah.
Let's go.
I'm going to give a shout out to YouTube because this was the first one after 9/11. So it was a very powerful performance, but Prince was iconic. But shout out to YouTube.
Yeah.
So is your vote for U2?
It's just one for YouTube, just to, yeah.
And it's Prince for me. Prince transcends Super Bowl halftime shows. He's just the human being that he is. Our next matchup, Josh, you've got the first vote. Shakira and J-Lo versus Beyonce. Who wins this one?
We going with Shakira here, actually. I like Shakira.
Do it.
Beyonce was 9 years ago.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
That seems like it was like 2 halftime shows ago. Dale, are you going Shakira and J-Lo or Beyonce?
I'm going Beyonce. That was such a good halftime performance.
Beyonce right there. Who's up next? Joey, are you going Beyonce or Shakira?
Queen B. Let's go.
Queen B. Tim?
I gotta go Shakira. She did that weird thing to the camera, and it's really funny.
And the Destiny's Child reunion during the Beyonce show was enough for Beyonce to get my vote right here. So we're going with it's Destiny's Child, but I guess the vote goes to Beyonce. And Eric, I think you've alluded to where you're going on this one. So where are you voting here?
Man, you can't pass up that weird tongue meme moment from Shakira. That's like one of my top 5 all memes. I'm dropping that at least daily.
Are we just having Shakira win then?
Yeah, we'll give the tie to the guest. Shakira moving on to the next round. Up next, we've got The Who from 2010 versus Janet Jackson in 2004. JL, where are you going here?
I saw Jay in the chat said, how's Justin Timberlake not here? He is.
Well, so Justin Timberlake had a separate performance later. Like, what was that? Like 2013 or something like that?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Never mind.
Justin Timberlake
about what I said.
The one
this
you're
is
thinking
Janet
of.
Jackson's performance. Justin Timberlake had a separate one years later.
But
JL, where are you going here? He was in this one, yes. But it was Janet Jackson.
I'm going Janet Jackson then.
He was very much in it.
One vote for Janet Jackson. Joey, where are you going?
I saw a booby on national television. Janet Jackson.
2 votes for Janet Jackson. Tim?
I gotta go with The Who. It's as close to having skeletons perform as possible, so that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm with Joey. It was the first boob I ever saw. So I'm gonna go with Janet Jackson here. Pretty pivotal moment in my life. But you know what? Janet Jackson got done dirty by that. It like ended her career, and Justin Timberlake just got to keep on rolling. That was messed up. Eric, you going with The Who or are you going with Janet Jackson?
Yeah, and entirely messed up how like their arcs just like completely went in different directions from there. But like, I mean, arguably this is like the most memorable, iconic Super Bowl halftime moment. Like, I'm surprised this isn't a 2 seed. I'll go with the Janet Jackson side.
Josh, what about you?
I mean, the performance was actually a good performance all in all in the Janet Jackson show as well. So that's why I'm gonna go there.
It was a good show.
5-1. Janet Jackson moving on. Up next, we've got The Weeknd.
Confirmed.
Just like the plot. The last 2 Super Bowl halftime shows we've got right here. The Weeknd versus Dr. Dre and Snoop. Who had the first vote on that one? I think JL did. So, Joey, you've got the first vote.
Yeah, that Dre Snoop thing was great. Yeah, that's my halftime show. 50 Cent upside down.
Obviously, there were way more people in here, but there's a character limit on Bracket HQ, so I had to only put like 2 names in there. There was a lot more involved. Tim, are you going with Dre?
They watch his boots. Like, let's go.
Oh my God, our boots were unreal. Tim, The Weeknd or Dre and Snoop?
I think Dre and Snoop's was more fun, but Weeknd carried it by himself and went all over the stadium. So I'll give I'll give a nod to The Weeknd because I love that album.
He
It's
got
fantastic.
lost during his own performance, Tim.
Tim, for the exact reason you said, what a shitty on the field experience for the people that paid to watch the halftime show there. Like all of a sudden they're like, oh, where'd The Weeknd go? He's in a maze of mirrors, hidden from everybody.
If you're gonna say that, the entire half of the stadium
I was
didn't
gonna
see
say,
the performance,
to be fair,
Simon, on Drain
yeah.
Snoop.
Okay, well, that was
Dumbass.
half. The
That has to
Weeknd
suck,
isolated all of it.
It's probably
No,
the
they
person
were on
working-
top of like things. I think you could see it, right?
That being said, I don't care if The Weeknd,
Yeah.
I don't care if The Weeknd had every person like this close to his face. It wouldn't have come close to how much fun the halftime show was this year. It's Dre and Snoop for me. Eric, where are you going? Are you going with this year's or last year's?
Man, that moment when 50 Cent popped out from the ceiling
my
looking
God.
like he got stung by bees, like I'm a prisoner of the moment. That was it was an awesome show, and also it was hilarious to watch these dudes in their 50s trying to be out there like they're still in their 20s.
They were killing it. They were doing it though. Josh, 3-1. Dre and Snoop, where are you going on this one?
It's easy, Dre and Snoop. Let's go.
And JL?
Easy, Dre and Snoop.
Dre and Snoop moving on to the next round. Guys, we have our semifinal matchups, and Tim has the first vote on this one. Prince versus Shakira and J-Lo.
Again, I think the right answer is Prince, but I remember Shakira's more, man. That was a lot of fun.
I'm gonna go with Prince here. I rewatched it today just to be sure, and it's just as amazing as everyone says it is when they say it should be the 101. Eric, are you going with Prince or are you going with Shakira and J-Lo? This one seems tough for you. You've had some you were in favor of both of these previously.
Yeah, I've taken kind of a weird angle on this side of the bracket. But, I mean that Prince performance still holds up. I rewatched it too, and it's still a banger. So lock it in for Prince.
2 votes for Prince. Josh, what about you here?
It's Prince.
3 votes for Prince. JL?
I'll throw a nod to Shakira and J-Lo.
Well, it's more than a nod. Joey could send this to the chat. Joey, are you going with Prince or are you going with Shakira and J-Lo?
He stood behind a giant curtain and played the guitar, and it looked like his, you know what, on national television. It's Prince.
He's told me like 3 times. I knew exactly how he's voting.
It looked like his guitar.
No.
No, it was his guitar though.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it did look like it.
Yeah.
Like it's Tinkle
Hey,
Town,
look at
Tim.
that shadow of his guitar. Looks like his guitar.
I was sitting next to my mother, and I said,
This
"Mm,
poll is mean.
This one's fun.
oh,
Jay said if Prince doesn't win, Joey is gonna
Then make sure it
flip.
doesn't
Well, we're gonna
happen.
find out here. Tim, you voted first on that one, right? So it is my turn to vote. Yeah, because Joey voted last. Janet Jackson versus Dr. Dre and Snoop. And Eric, you mentioned that was probably one of the most iconic, like memorable, when people think super halftime shows. Janet Jackson comes to mind. But man, I have never had more fun watching a halftime show than I did this year. Maybe I was just like the right target audience.
Drunk?
Maybe it was like artists that I liked. No, I wasn't drunk. I was working. But I'm going to go with this year's 2022 recency bias. I had so much fun watching that halftime show. Eric, where are you going here? Janet Jackson or Dr. Dre and Snoop and Kendrick Lamar?
Simon out
Eminem,
here
50
pretending
Cent?
like just because he's working, it means that he can't be drunk.
Yeah, I was about
As
to say
I'm
something like that.
actively drinking.
Yeah,
on-
literally drinking right now.
I was about to say that.
No, I was working.
Uh,
guys.
But yeah, I mean it's that moment. I did a very unscientific poll asking people the first Super Bowl halftime show that came to mind, and almost unanimously it was that Janet Jackson won in 04. So I'll go with the 6th seed.
1 vote for Janet Jackson. Josh, where are you going here?
Yeah, I mean, if we're just talking about like best Super Bowl halftime shows, in my opinion, Dr. Dre and Snoop beat out Janet Jackson's. That's where I'm gonna go.
2 votes. JL, what about you?
I'm going Dre and Snoop. I'm going Dre and Snoop. So many good songs. You got Anderson .Paak in there, surprise performance, 50 Cent in there. Let's go.
I felt like I was just like, is that Anderson .Paak? Like just sitting there, like I wasn't quite sure. And then I went on Twitter and saw like
smile, yeah.
4 tweets over there saying the same thing. Joey, where are you going on this one?
oh, it's Dre and Snoop."
Dre and Snoop and Tim.
I'm gonna give it to Janet Jackson. Get me back to the good old days when it was just like one. I'm just kidding. Dre and Snoop is really great, but yeah.
But we have our championship matchup. There were some upsets along the way, but it's 1 versus 2. And I think if you asked us to predict what this finals was going to be, this is what everybody was going to say. And
Or
Jay
Janet
said,
Jackson.
how the hell is Michael Jackson not on this list? Because most of us on here weren't alive when Michael Jackson performed at the Super Bowl.
I was alive.
But he's really good too.
And what was it, 93 or 92?
I remember it.
That Michael Jackson was at the
93,
Super Bowl.
93.
So half of us weren't alive whenever Michael Jackson performed at the Super Bowl. But guys, we have our championship matchup, and you know what? Who should we start with? Because do we want to make Eric decide if it's a tie since he's the guest?
Ooh. Yes.
So I say we start with Josh. Josh, you're up first. Prince versus Dre and Snoop.
So the title of the bracket is best halftime show. Maybe while I slightly prefer Dr. Dre and Snoop, I understand that Prince's was the best. So I'm gonna give it to Prince.
One vote for Prince. JL.
This sucks.
This is not fun.
I'm gonna go with Dre and Snoop, and that's 100% bias. I will say.
Yeah,
That makes
fair, I
sense.
think.
Joey, what about you?
Prince is on my Rushmore. He played Purple Rain in the Rain. It is Prince.
Tim.
This is tough because I need to vote how Simon is not going to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
Kinda.
I don't know. how that's gonna work.
Or you could just go with Dr. Yeah, never mind.
You know what? Yeah, give me Prince. Stands the test of time. We don't know that about Dre and Snoop yet. When they do, but the performance is.
Oh, I was gonna say Dre.
I was gonna say
stand the test of time.
yeah,
They were just
the
up there.
performance.
Yeah.
Performance.
I loved everything about this year's halftime show, and that's not to take away from Prince's. It's just as good, but like maybe it's because I was in the 7th grade. I probably didn't appreciate Prince's as much as I appreciated Dre and Snoop's this year. So just what did I enjoy more? I'm gonna go with Dre and Snoop. So Eric, you can give it to
really
Prince.
is up to
He
you.
can be the winner, or you can send this to the chat. What is
no.
it? No, because we're doing
Okay,
tie goes to the guest.
Okay.
So
okay.
if
No,
you
we'll
vote
do it
Prince-
to the chat either way. No,
There is a poll in the chat.
I just didn't do it earlier.
Okay, where are you going here, Eric?
I have no idea what's happening right now. Dre and Snoop being there this year, to Tim's point, is quite literally them standing the test of time. Since we have a poll going, I'll send it to the chat and I will give Dre and Snoop the vote. It was an awesome show.
Nice.
3 to
Man of the
3.
people.
It is going to the chat. Eric, a man of the people. What's it going to be, JL?
Well,
the chat
I
say?
didn't put it up
Please
that
be
long
50-50.
ago. It's like a minute or two, but there's 3 votes currently. And Dre is winning. Dre and Snoop, and then they're beating Prince
we will
currently with 3
we'll
votes.
give it a second for some more votes to come in. Guys, get your votes in. And while we do that, a couple reminders before we sign off for today. If you guys are not following our guest, Eric, go and do so right now. He's on Twitter at FantasyNav. He's one of our favorite people in the space. And like we said before, he runs an awesome event called Pros with Joes over there. It's a charity league where you get to pair up with your favorite analysts and play along. So if you guys haven't participated in that before, participated in it this coming year. It's pretty awesome. Eric, thank you so much for taking the time to come on today, my man.
Man, thanks for having me. It was a ton of fun. And one more shameless plug. I will be on tonight at 10:30 Eastern with my good friend Mike, MC Holland 34, and we will be breaking down some college basketball DFS. So if you follow
Very
me
nice.
here at Fantasy Nav around 10:30 or so, you can get some insights on those college hoops. It's a new thing we spun up a few weeks ago.
You have to watch that.
Nice.
Talk about
Sounds
brackets,
good over
right?
there. So, JL,
Yeah.
It's the time.
All right.
we get-
The final vote with 6 votes. We doubled our vote count here. Dre and Snoop win.
Dre and
all
Snoop
right.
take it out. Joey, Mr. Scamper says, is this Joey's last show? Because Prince just
Look how
lost
sad
in the
he is.
finals.
Voting against Prince doesn't make fantasy fun. Like, that's all I have to say. All you
I
young
concur.
people can kiss,
Hey, Joey, we brothers,
What?
we got this. I
Yes.
voted
Hey.
Prince.
I don't
Me
even know where
too.
to put my
Us
fist
3.
anymore. I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm going to put it to the wall is what I'm probably going to do. Like,
Hey, and it's
dumb.
time.
I don't know why I'm on the show. Every week, you have me come on. I took a week off, and this is how you treat me. I just can't.
I took a whole week off for this hour-long
It's
show.
because you took a week off.
Seems excessive.
He spent the entire time watching Prince pretend his guitar was a
Yes.
guitar.
It was,
Yeah.
I'll make
Guys,
fun of
You know what's nice? I get to say trading makes fantasy fun without J-Wall being a big D hole.
You hear that? It's silent.
Guys,
Speaking of
that
big
is
D
gonna
holes,
be-
Prince is a halftime show.
Guys, before we get too far off the rails talking about Prince's guitar, we are going to end the show for this afternoon. Thank you, everybody who came in, voted along with us, played along, and helped us determine that Lamar Jackson is our favorite under 25 dynasty trade target at the quarterback position, and that this most recent halftime show, don't throw recency bias at us. There is no way that is what caused it. But Dre and Snoop with the best halftime show of all time. Guys, thank you so much. If you are not sick of us yet, we are going to be live at 6 p.m. Eastern time over on the FanDuel YouTube and Twitch channels with our friend Jorge Martin playing some fantasy fortunes. So make sure you guys come on over there and hang out with us then until 6 p.m. Eastern time. Guys, that is it for us. Adios, everybody.
I'll be wearing a suit. I love you guys. Let's go. Woo!
Katy Perry.